Of course, the American Red Cross has been on the ground since before Hurricane Helene and now Milton have hit. We're in multiple states. We have about 2,000 volunteers on the ground in those affected areas. We will be sending about 500 more over this weekend, but there is a great need. I mean, with having a multiple state response to these horrific, devastating disasters, the American Red Cross, first and foremost, is about sheltering. And so we have roughly over 100 shelters alone in Florida open. Last night we housed about 15,000 individuals. And so we are currently sending volunteers locally and really across the nation to support that disaster relief effort. But what we really need is additional volunteers. You know, we are in a continuous response to disaster these days. It's just one disaster after another. And so while we have the power of such a great volunteer base within the American Red Cross, we have a need. And so we ask the East Texas community if they're interested in deploying and helping those suffering from disaster. We have shelter trainings all throughout East Texas and the DFW area over the coming weeks that you can come. We'll train you how to work in a shelter, and we'll send you to help those in need.
Let's talk a little bit about what it takes to be a volunteer for shelters and to be deployed and go through
Sure,
that process.
Absolutely. So to become an American Red Cross volunteer, it's a simple online application at redcross.org. You fill it out. It takes about 10 minutes. We do a small background check. And then if you do want to become a shelter volunteer, the shelter trainings are a couple of hours. We train you up on the basics of working in a shelter, and then we send you out for about a 10 to 14 day deployment. The American Red Cross organizes, trains you, and provides you with all the tools that you need to do that.
Are there any requirements as far as being prepared or being qualified to be a shelter volunteer?
No, I think organizational skills are always good, people skills, and really having that personality to want to give back and help others. One thing that we really do here at the American Red Cross is provide hope. Through our sheltering, feeding, in those dire emergency situations, we provide just emotional support. We can provide mental health support. We encourage any local registered nurse that wants to help us. We have registered nurses. We have spiritual care workers. So really anything that you think that you possess as a skill, we're going to find a spot for you here at the Red Cross.
What kind of a time commitment would it be?
Absolutely. So up front, 10 minutes to do the application, a couple of hours training specifically for shelter training, and then when you go on a deployment for the American Red Cross, you'd be gone from about 10 to 14 days.
And are there any costs associated with it?
No, all expenses are paid. We pay for your travel, your lodging, and your food.
Okay. And then let's talk a little bit about the impact we've had here in East Texas specifically, because that's where you work and that's where you see the volunteers. So what has been the response in this area, especially with regards to the two most recent hurricanes?
Absolutely. So we do have local volunteers that are deployed to the area. But again, when we deploy local volunteers, we still have disasters here on a daily basis. Home fires are our biggest disaster that we have locally. And so, of course, we don't want all of our volunteers to go to the hurricane efforts. So I encourage the community, if you cannot give us 2 weeks of your time and go and deploy and help those in North Carolina and Florida, we could use you as a volunteer here locally to help us with our local disasters. We have lots of other volunteer opportunities, whether it be administration, clerical, disaster. We have volunteers that help us run blood drives. We have volunteers that help us with our preparedness programs. So we have an array of volunteer opportunities. So if you cannot deploy, then you can always help locally. We would definitely welcome that.
Do you know how many East Texas volunteers have been deployed?
Yeah, so right now I think we have roughly here in East Texas about 15 volunteers. That's going to ebb and flow on a daily basis because as they deploy for 14 days and they come home, then new ones will go in. But typically around 15 to 20 East Texas volunteers is what we will see responding to Hurricane Helene and Milton over the course of weeks and months. This is not going to be a short-term disaster. This is going to be long-term. Many people have lost everything that they have, and we're going to be there until the very last person is back on their feet.
What would be some words of encouragement that you might have for someone who is maybe interested but on the fence about deciding to be a shelter volunteer?
Sure. I would say give us a call. Call one of our offices, talk to one of the staff or volunteers that answer our phones, and we'd be more than happy to talk with you. I also encourage you, there's no commitment. If you sign up for the shelter training that we have, we're going to have one next week in Tyler. We have one, I think, on the 29th in Longview. Come, it's 3 hours of your time. If you come and you see that you don't like it after 3 hours of your time in training, there's no obligation to do that. So give us a call. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. And I also say do your research. Redcross.org is a great resource, whether you want to volunteer, whether you want to donate, and just take a look. You know, the American Red Cross is the oldest and largest nonprofit organization in the United States, and we are solely driven. 90% of our workforce is volunteers. And we have some wonderful, wonderful volunteers, and it truly is a community. So just pick up the phone, give us a call, or come to one of our shelter trainings.